Hi, my name's Shiraz. I'm a personal development and business coach with SM3 Empowerment. What I'm going to do today is share with you a very powerful and simple technique that simply takes 15 minutes, but within that 15 minutes, you will be able to learn how to spell any word and basically remember it for the rest of your life. Whether you're a student and you want to learn this technique for yourself, I guarantee you it will work. Whether you're a teacher or whether you're a parent and you want to help your child learn something, this is a technique I've seen work and I want to basically share it with you so that hopefully you can use this in your life as well. Now, I first came across this technique with a gentleman who had resided himself to being dyslexic, had been for the last 30 years. Even though he was a project manager now, he would have his work checked, his grammar work, his basically spellings by his secretary at work to make sure any emails, any correspondence was sent out correctly. And at home he would fall back on his wife to help him again with the grammar and the spelling. So this gentleman was obviously highlighted, brought to the front of the classroom, and he went. The teacher went through this experiment with him. The teacher was a fellow, like myself, master NLP practitioner. Fancy word for neuro-linguistic programming, and that simply means how you can think and communicate in a more effective manner. Basically, he pulled this guy out, this so-called dyslexic guy, and asked him to spell, well, pick any word. So he picked, well, he didn't pick it, he had this word picked for him, Albuquerque. It's obviously an American state. The majority of us in the classroom couldn't quite fully 100% get the spelling right, so, you know, that's us as not dyslexic, so to speak, not being able to spell this word. So you can imagine a person who was dyslexic, an 11-letter word he'd never heard of. This was a huge mountain, a huge challenge. But within 15 minutes, not only could this gentleman spell the word forwards, he could spell it backwards. If you asked him what the 7th letter was going forwards, he could tell you what that was. If you asked him what the 5th letter was going backwards, boom, straight away he could tell you. So it's a very simple technique, a very powerful technique that I want to share with you today. Now, the premise of how it all works is to do with your eye movements. Believe it or not, studies have been done within NLP to prove how your eyes work. Not so much your eyes work, but how your mind works. And by looking at a person's eyes, you can then understand how that other person is actually using their mind. Now, generally speaking, if a person's looking upwards, whichever direction, what they're doing is they're utilising the visual aspects of their mind. If a person uses their eyes and looks simply sideways, they're utilising basically the auditory sense of their mind. So whether it's a sound, whether it's something they've heard, something they've read, they will generally look to that side. I'm going to explain the difference in sides in a minute. And if a person's using their feelings, the voices inside their head, or a gut feeling, they'll generally look downwards. So here's a diagram just to show you what I mean. If you can imagine someone's head, that's your head. It's actually quite similar to my bald egg head. But you've got these lines. Now, if a person's looking upwards, they're utilising the visual aspects of the mind, and that's what we're going to concentrate on today. So, like I mentioned, the word that was highlighted was Albuquerque. Now, what you need to do first is pick a font that you like, pick a colour that you like, and pick a size of the word that you like as well. So whether it's uppercase or lowercase, this is individual to you. The first thing that you need to do before you go through the spellings and how to teach someone is calibrate which side the person that you're talking to uses their mind to refer to the past and which side they use for the future. So the way that you can do this is very simple. You need to get somebody to look straight at you. So whether you're doing this as an experiment with your child or in a classroom, not everyone's going to be the same. So don't label everybody as going to be the same with this. So I did this experiment. I got so excited. I went home and I did this with my 8-year-old daughter. Within 15 minutes, she could remember the word Albuquerque. I went into my, obviously we were both excited, so we went into my other son's bedroom. He was 14. And we said, look, she's just learnt this word, Albuquerque. And my son, being very cocky, just pulled out his phone, looked at Google, learnt how to spell the word, and said, yeah, Dad, I can spell that word too. Big deal. Oh, yeah, that's fine, that's fine. 5 minutes later, okay, 10 minutes later, I went back into my son's bedroom and I said, how do you spell that word? He couldn't remember it. I asked my daughter, how do you spell that word? She could remember it backwards, forwards. Even the next day in the morning, I asked her again, do you remember how to spell that word? Boom, straight away. It just fell out of her mouth. She knew how to spell the word. She'd never heard of this word in her entire life, 8 years old. But she could say this word forwards, backwards. She was excited, I was excited. So this is what I want to share with you. So the way that you calibrate somebody is you need to be looking at them directly and ask them questions of something that they will already know. So you can ask them questions like, how many windows does your house have? And then just look at their eyes. Which way do their eyes move first? Because that will give you an insight into how they're using their mind. So ask these kind of questions. How many windows does your house have? What was the colour of your first bike? Which one of your friends has the longest hair? Can you tell me which is the highest building that's closest to you? So these are questions that this person will have the answers to. Just look at which side their eyes move to, not sideways, upwards, remember. When a person's utilising the visual aspect of the mind, they look upwards. These are questions and answers that the person will know. So what they're doing is they're referring to their past. It's already in their mind. That is the side where you're going to have to concentrate on. Now you need to understand which side they look at and then make a mental note yourself as to which side are they looking at. Because that's the side that we need to start matching with them if we want to help them remember something. We need to look at being able to put it in that same box, whether it's this side, whether it's that side. You can ask them questions again as to the visual aspects of what they would need if they were to think about something that hasn't already happened. So a future event, a future visualization event. So what would you look like with 3 eyes? If you're a male, what would you look like in drag? If you're female, what would you look like in a suit, and which suit would you pick? So these are things that are basically getting the person to test their mind as to what they would look like in the future. Where would you see yourself on your ideal holiday where you've never been before? What do you see happening in the future? These last 4 questions will give you an understanding as to where the person uses their mind and their eyes when they're wanting to visualize something in the future. And the first 4 questions were where the person would use their mind. And I'm just using this as an experiment, but say for example you've calibrated the person, you've tested the person, and they have now come back and said, basically, I look to this side when I'm remembering something in the past. Okay, well that is very important because that is now where you're going to have to match the other person. So if the person's told me this is where they look for their past, the technique I'm going to share with you will not work if you then start putting these flashcards, which I'm going to help just explain to you in a minute, on this side, because the person will be confused thinking, I don't look to that side, I look to this side. So it's important. Ask those questions, the kind of answers, the questions that the person will already know the answers to. How many windows in your house? What was the first colour of your bike? Which one of your friends has the longest hair? Blah, blah, blah. Let's say, for the experiments of this video, this is the side that they look at. So this is what you would do. You would chunk down the word Albuquerque, an American state. I have heard of it, didn't know how to spell it. I got one of the letters wrong when I went through this experiment. Not experiment, but just trying to learn how to spell this word. So what you do is you need to chunk this down into little bite-sized chunks. So the first 4 letters are right here. Now notice I'm not going to put it there. If you told me, not told me, but if I've seen with your eyes that you look to this side when you're remembering something in the past, this is the side I'm going to put this flashcard on. So I raise this flashcard, not here, not down here, here. But let me lower myself a little bit so you can see. So I'm having to look upwards. So I did this with my daughter Alicia. I put these 4 letters up and I told her to read it 3 or 4 times. Just read the letters out. Now in your mind, make it a colour that you like. She picked pink. Make it a size, font, uppercase, lowercase, that you like. Nothing to do with me. It's personal to you. So she made it pink, and there was rainbows and unicorns and all sorts of things in the background that helped her in her visualization. So she said this word, these letters 4 or 5 times. I put it down. I asked her to remember it. Can you just go through the letters again? And then we raised it. And I said, okay, now use your fingers if you need to so that you can lock it in. So when you're spelling it, when you're having to write it, again, it will come as second nature to you. So she started on the 5th and 6th attempt just using her fingers to spell it out, put the flashcard down and said, okay, now say the letters backwards. So she went through it, we did this a few times, she could say the words backwards and said, okay, just again with your letters, with the font, with the colour, use your fingers, spell it backwards. We did that. It's bite-sized chunks, so that's what she did. Obviously the next 4 letters, we raised those, and we did the same again. Basically spelling it forwards, spelling it backwards, putting the flashcard down, repeating it, making a mental image in your mind, but also using your fingers to spell the word out. Do that 5 times. Put the flashcard down, put the flashcard up, not here, sorry, here, and just make sure that they can remember the words forwards and backwards. Then, at this stage, you get the person, your child, your student, to say it all together. Alba, Kirk. Then you get them to say it backwards. You put the flashcards down. You're getting it locked into their mind, into their visual brain, how to say the first 4, then the next 4, saying it together, bite-sized chunks, saying it backwards, and then saying, okay, out of those first 8 letters, pick the, I don't know, the second, or pick the second to the last, what's that letter? And again, they'd look into the, and if you see their eyes moving around, say, no, 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 don't look that way, please, just help me help you. This is the side that you need to look at. So keep on looking at this side. Don't look down, don't look anywhere else when you're trying to remember it. Look up, and you'll basically lock in what it is that's already been put into your brain. Obviously, the last 3 letters, again, doing the same thing. Put it in a font size that is good for you, put it in the colour that's good for you, put it in the size, lowercase, uppercase, whatever is good for you. You say this word 5 times, read the letters out, put it down, raise it back up, say it backwards, put it down. Now you join it all together. So Albuquerque. Get these out. So this is where you would then start saying, right, let's get all of these being said at the same time. Say it forwards, say it backwards, put the cards down. This is when you then test them, saying, right, spell me the word Albuquerque, forwards. Now spell it backwards. Ask them, what's the 7th letter, what's the 3rd letter? And by this stage, because if you do this correctly, and if you are basically holding these flashcards up in the area, in the direction that they use for their past, it will be locked in permanently. I did this, like I said, with my daughter, who was 8 at the time. She was so excited, she could remember the word. She'd never heard of this word. She could remember it spelling it forwards, she could remember it spelling it backwards. She could pick out, I could pick out any letter for her, and she could give me the answer straight away. So this is a very powerful technique that works. This is the little video I wanted to make. I say little, it's nearly 14 minutes, 15 minutes long. But it's a technique that works. I've seen it. And I just wanted to share the knowledge with you. So hopefully you can use this if you have children. You can use this if you're a teacher. If you're a student yourself, you just get somebody else to calibrate you. So you get the person to ask you questions, things that you will know of, to find out which side your eyes move to when you're referring to your past, and which side your eyes move to when you're referring to the future. So when you want to remember something, you have to lock it into your past. So by locking it into your past, whenever you're recalled to think about this word again, you're going to refer to your past and think, I know this. It's like a filing index system in your mind. So you go through and you think, okay, I've got right, I found the index card now where I learned how to spell Albuquerque. And in your mind, you'll visualize it and you'll be able to spell it. One of the issues with teaching has been we got taught how to spell things phonetically, how things sound, which does work, but not for everybody. Now, if you try this technique where you utilize the visual aspect of your mind, it will get locked in permanently. Like I said, I did this experiment with my 14-year-old who within 10 minutes couldn't repeat how to spell the word without having to look it up again. As opposed to my 8-year-old daughter, and they're both as intelligent as each other, to obviously their own aspects as to how old they are, but my 8-year-old daughter could spell it 24 hours afterwards without even having to look it up. She could just sit down, look at her past, the experiment that we did, and she was like, Dad, there you go. I was blown away. I want you to share this, I want you to trial this technique. Any comments, please leave your comments below. And if you found it useful, then share it. That's all I'm asking. Just pay it forward. Give this video to somebody else for them to be able to learn the same kind of technique. So hopefully this has been useful. If it has, let me know. If it hasn't, again, just let me know. My name's Shiraz, personal development coach, business coach with SM3 Empowerment. If there's anything I can do to help, let me know. I'll speak to you later. Bye-bye.